What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things boxing. Remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all the latest content as and when it drops on the channel. So let's get into this one. Over the weekend, we had some good action, both in Ireland and also in the USA. I'm going to concentrate on the main event of the card that we saw in the USA, and that was between Jaimie Munguia and John the Gorilla Ryder. And this performance over the weekend, Saturday just gone, was a very good sort of mature performance by Munguia. I did expect him to win. I think most people expected him to win. For me, my reasoning going into it was the fact that although you had to give John Ryder a good chance, because John Ryder has shown good performances against Callum Smith. Extremely unlucky not to become world champion against Callum Smith around, I don't know, it would have been about a year or two back. Very unlucky not to get that decision. Many people claim robbery. So he's boxed at a very good level. He's had kind of an Indian summer in his career. But the fact that his last fight prior to this fight against Jaimie Munguia was a hard-fought 12-round decision loss to Canelo, that kind of made me think that, well, he's taken quite a lot of damage in the Canelo fight. So therefore, for him to now go into another hard fight against Jaimie Munguia, I just felt personally that, it was an uphill battle anyway. But going into it after such a difficult fight against the best super middleweight in the world in Canelo is a very, very hard ask. But John Ryder, he's one of those guys. He's a fighting man, so he doesn't care. He'll get in there and he'll fancy his chances against anybody. And he fought like a true warrior. But you could tell from the early going in this fight, he was right at the end of Munguia's punches. Munguia really did box out of his skin in this fight, because he was able to, throw his combinations. But the impressive thing that others have noticed this as well, was that he was able to sometimes much of the early round keep Ryder kind of at arm's length, and he was able to, although he's a pressure fighter and he throws punches in bunches, he was able to keep Ryder on the outside, still getting hit and unable to really get inside and do much damage. And it was impressive in that aspect, that he kind of used his length, used his reach and everything, and kept Ryder at the end of the punches and stuff. And yeah, it was one of those that was exciting from the word go. It was a bit of a slugfest from the word go, but you could see that there was a guy that was in command, and that guy was predominantly Jaimie Munguia. He's an interesting guy, because he is good, but he's not hard to find. He's not hard to hit. But John Ryder just couldn't get to grips with the fight. He was always coming off second best in the early rounds. He did come into the fight a little bit more in kind of coming towards the second half. I mean, of course, when you watch the fight, you'll see he was put down a couple of times early, I think second round. And the positive for Ryder was that he went down, and one of the knockdowns he was kind of just squared on. I think it was in the fourth round. The other one early in the second round. These were not flash knockdowns, but they weren't heavy knockdowns to the point where he looked like he was out of it, like he was completely gone. It was one of those where he gets caught with a good shot, he goes down, but he's still ready to fight on. And as the fight wore on, Ryder had a few rounds in there. I think you could say 6 and 7. Some say maybe round 6, 7, 8. But throughout this fight, he was having his moments. He was having some success in there. But the success Ryder was having was just too sort of few and far between as far as landing punches. The success just wasn't enough to sort of counter what Munguia was doing, because Munguia was just landing too much and was just too sort of dominant against Ryder here. So Munguia was always sort of the dominant one. It was when there were little gaps in his game, and a few rounds, as I say, in the middle, where Munguia sort of took a backward step, and you could say he took rounds off or took periods off, and that's where John Ryder sort of came into it and where he took a few rounds. But to be generous to Ryder, you could only say out of the 9 rounds this fight went, you could only really give him about 2 or 3. Excuse me. And yeah, apart from that, it was pretty much all Jaimie Munguia. So yeah, as the fight wore on, Ryder had his good moments in around 6th, 7th, some in the 8th, and as it wore on, it got to the 9th, and then, you know, again, Munguia puts John Ryder down. But this time, you can tell that Ryder is genuinely hurt. He was reeling, the eyes were going a bit, and you could tell that this was it. And then, you know, he gets up as the warrior that he is. He tries to fight back. Munguia just piling on the pressure again. Ryder's coach was up in the corner, waving, trying to get the flag. And everybody seemed to know the fight was over apart from the referee. The referee didn't see anything. He didn't notice it. De La Hoya was jumping up. Everyone was jumping up, trying to signal that, look, just stop the fight, ref. And in the end, the solution they came to was they just rung the timekeeper just rung the bell early, and that's how Ryder got stopped. So yeah, once again, good, valiant effort by John Ryder, but he just wasn't up to snuff. He just wasn't, you know, I suppose, young or fresh enough in this fight. Wasn't good enough to be a youngster like Jaimie Munguia. Now, if we do get to see Munguia versus Canelo, I think there's enough holes in Munguia's game that you'd have to favour Canelo Alvarez by a long shot, because I think Canelo's a lot slicker. He's very slick. He's very accurate with his punches, and he's just going to be too wise for a kid like Jaimie Munguia. Munguia's, you know, he's had a lot of fights, but Canelo's had a lot of fights against the very best. And he's been through different weight divisions. He's fought the best. He's beat the best. He's cleaned up the entire super middleweight. He's the undisputed champ. He's fought the best. You know, it's only really Benavidez and Munguia who are sort of left. So you'd have to pick Canelo going into that fight if he does get it. I personally would more so like to see Canelo versus David Benavidez, but I wouldn't be mad at Munguia because it would be exciting. And it would be a good fight, regardless of who wins or who loses. For me, a big-time pick Canelo. But yeah, well done to John Ryder. It looks like he goes off into retirement now after that loss. But he's done himself proud. He's got some brilliant paydays, and he's got all he needs to get out of boxing. I mean, short of becoming a world champion, he's been a great ambassador for the sport. He's been able to get up there, fight the very best, make a load of money, which is what boxing's about. And yeah, he's got a nice legacy in boxing. So yeah, he can happily retire if he wants to. We'll see what happens next. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Who do you think Munguia should be fighting next? I mean, for one, I'll throw this one out there. I think Jaimie Munguia versus David Benavidez next would be a brilliant fight. I'd love to see either one of them versus Canelo, especially Benavidez. But I think if you could have Munguia versus Benavidez, for me, that would be a brilliant fight. So anyway, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out. Catch you on the next one.